Is fitting in really that important in a teen's life? Or are we just letting the fear of mistakes guide us? Understanding the zones of comfort can help us see why we feel the way we do and understand others better. We'll get into it after I hit this music. Welcome back to Breaking Bullying. My name is Tim Flynn, the host, and joining me this week is teen leadership coach Lorraine Connell. Lorraine, thank you so much for coming on today.
Tim, thanks for having me. I can't wait to have this conversation.
Yes, I'm really excited about this conversation too because I have little kids. I have 5 girls, 2 are adults now and 3 are under the age of 7. And to me, I feel like the more they fit in, the less they'll be picked on.
Mm.
But is fitting in really worth it, or does it stop it from being ourselves?
Oh, I love that question so much. And I think so often the name of my company is Peers, Not Fears. And the reason I named it that way is that there's so much fear in that teenage life. There's so much fear of fitting in, of being accepted, and preventing people from seeing us make mistakes. And so this drive to fit in is really what drives kids away from each other rather than bringing them together.
Really? Because to me, I feel like if you fit in, you're you'd be less of a target of being bullied. Because if you see a kid that looks weird, you could be picked on just for that. But I like your perspective because if we try to be perfect, we're gonna be hard on ourselves, which can cause depression. I remember my second daughter, Rihanna, she was a perfectionist in school, so if she made a mistake in elementary school, she had a full-blown meltdown.
Mhm.
I I'm really looking forward to this conversation because I think way I'm teaching my kids right now may not be the correct way.
I think,
As far as trying to fit in.
unfortunately
Yeah,
yeah, I think unfortunately, we as parents, we bring a lot of our own baggage into parenting, and so the things that our kids tell us or the things that we experience really colors how we give advice, how we guide, all of those things. And I think the thing that really struck me as you were sharing your, want to help your kids or other kids fit in is that the misnomer of what fitting in allows us to believe. We can never fit in. There's never a way that anybody is going to fit in because that says there's only one way, or there's only one look, or there's only one experience, or there's only one and more often than not, there's never just one. And so I think that misbelief or the idea behind fitting in keeps us in this space of trying to change who we are. And when you change who you are, you prevent that ability to belong. Belonging is really being accepted for who you are and, that's what we're chasing when we quote unquote say we're trying to fit in. But really, it's the opposite. We want to embrace the idea that nobody fits in, and differences is what makes us so much stronger, so much more rich. And the way that we bring and build community is to embrace those differences.
so how do we go about going like, how do I tell my daughter it's okay to dress like this? Because my daughter, first of all, she loves dresses. Um,
Mhm.
she will wear like she has these little skirts that go over your pants, whatever. She will
Yeah.
wear that thing with every piece of clothes. Blue jeans, she'll put it on. And to her, she loves it. And to me, I'm like, oh gosh, you cannot go looking like that. But how, as a parent, do I embrace? Maybe that's her look, that's her style. How do I embrace that? Because I say that because I'm scared of her being picked on in school. But Georgia wants to wear this skirt. No matter if she wore it yesterday or 2 days before, it's clean still. So she wants to wear it with everything. That's just the way she looks, and she likes the way she looks, which is good, but I don't like the way she looks because she it doesn't match. H
Mhm.
Yes, so help me. How do I fix that?
Well, I honestly don't think there's a one-way answer. I think you letting Georgia do what she wants solves one problem, right? Like Georgia's voice, Georgia's, confidence is growing, right? But, like, Georgia goes to school and she's wearing this, and there are people who are going to say, "That's not fitting in," right? So it's more than just your ability to parent. It's about, like, reminding our kids that differences does not make us I don't know. I wanna just say that differences don't make us different, but they make us who we
Yeah,
are, and every time we try and hide a difference, we hide a part of ourselves, and, like, when I say that out loud, it hurts my heart, right? Like, there's no way that I know as her father, you wanna have her hiding something about herself, but you're doing it from a place of protection, right? Like, I wanna prevent you from getting hurt, but you know probably better than anybody that you came out of that experience 100% stronger. Like, you wouldn't be doing the work that you're doing today
yeah,
if you hadn't experienced what you experienced. And not that I'm like, everybody should have to go through hard times, but the people who are able to go through hard times and come out on the other side create solutions for the next generation. And I can't think of a better outcome of something so terrible.
yeah. So, gonna fast forward, I'll say I have a teenager now, which I still technically kinda do, she's 19. Say if I have a young teenager and they don't wanna follow the social norm of how they should dress, how they should act. So, as a parent at that age, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, you know what? This is your thing. Do it." But what if you get those kids who feel like, "I'll wear these jeans, I'll wear the shirt, but I really don't wanna wear this." How can they approach a parent or, anybody saying, "Hey, I don't like the way I look."
Mhm.
And they're not coming off saying that they have bad confidence, they just don't like that's just not who they are. Like, if I had to go to work every day wearing a suit and tie, I don't wanna do that. I like to wear loose clothes,
Right,
whatever, comfy clothes. I'm not
right.
wearing a suit or tie. That's just who I am. But how do we express to a teen that it's okay to have your own look,
To
to
be
be who you
different,
are? Yeah,
I don't know that you or I can do that. I think we have to start at home and have conversations at home about, like, is it worth the risk, the reward? Like, it's just about, like, what does it make you feel when you change the way that you're dressed in hoping to fit in? Do you feel like you fit in? And, like, honestly, I don't think anybody ever feels like they fit in. Even the kids who are the in crowd or the popular kids, like, they're pretending. I say this to my own I have 2 teenagers as well, and I said, imagine how hard it must be to be popular
yeah,
because you've been put on this pedestal, and now you have to work so hard to stay up there. What if you weren't popular? What if you decided to do what you wanted to do? It's still hard, but the hard is different. And so what is the hard that you wanna walk through? What is the challenge that you wanna face? And that's where my conversation with teens about your zones of comfort comes in because we hear on social media, like, step outside your comfort zone, challenge yourself. But there is a zone beyond your comfort zone, your challenge zone. that is not a zone of learning, and that's called your panic zone. So if I'm able to have that kind of conversation with my teenager and say, "Was it how did it feel when you dressed that way?" Or "How did it feel when you changed who you were to look like so and so? Did it feel comfortable? Did it feel uncomfortable? Or did it make you feel like it wasn't you at all?" Comfortable, that's what maybe we're aiming for, but uncomfortable, those are where we build our muscles of resilience. And
Mhm.
that, I know as the work you do, it's all about creating the opportunities to build the muscle of resilience in a way that allows it to get stronger, not to completely cut it off, right? And that's where the panic zone comes in is if you've pushed me way too far, I'm gonna shut down,
So
and yeah,
so do kids tend to make more mistakes trying to find a way to fit in? Can that
yes.
be a problem?
Yes. Yes, because there's only like, fitting in, remember, is there's only one way,
Yeah.
right? And one person, I don't know who that person is, gets to decide what that one way is. So one day, it may be this, and 2 weeks later, after you've gotten all the right things, it's no longer fitting in anymore. That's not the right way, and that's why it's hard to chase fitting in is because you don't know what the right way is. So if we just let go of trying to fit in and just do what makes us feel the way we wanna feel.
Yeah. So I use one example of clothing because that's what I deal with, especially with Georgia, who picks out the craziest clothes, I think, as a combo, but whatever, that's Georgia. But what are you experiencing working with teens as far as them trying to fit in? Like, is it a personality? Is it showing their emotional side more? But what are you kind of seeing like the common issues with teens today?
Well, I think coming back to the one way, social media is defines one way, right?
Hmm.
But in reality, social media has a million different ways that is the one way. And so it's who are you following? Who are you watching? And so I have really been on the hook of saying, like, we are building muscles when we're on social media. The muscle, however, is not confidence. The muscle is comparison. So the more time that I'm spending on social media, the more I'm learning to compare myself to something else. And that is the challenge that I find with fitting in is that it's all sorts of places that we're trying to fit in, all sorts of personality, body, hair, color, everything is defined by who you're following. And if I'm following A and you're following B, then our fitting in is going to be different. And so it's that chasing of that one thing that that is exhausting.
Yeah. But, going to social media, one thing I realized looking at social media influencer, especially the ones that are doing, like, paid commercials,
Yes.
at least the ones that I see, they all look the same.
Yeah.
They all look the same. Usually it's a girl, a blonde hair, brunette hair, they're fit, very
Mhm.
healthy looking, promoting a product that they'll probably never even use,
Right.
which doesn't
Right.
make any sense to me. But I feel like that's gonna do more damage to our kids because that's not reality, even though it is that person's reality, but they don't realize the amount of filters they use, the editing and video that they can do. You can make your voice like the software I'm using today. If I have a mistake how I say things, I can have AI fix it and you'll never know, which I don't do because I make mistakes all the time and I want to keep my podcast real. But
Yeah.
they got these tools to give kids a false reality that this is not how that person is. And I feel like it's ruining kids' confidence, and especially if we're talking about zones of comfort. If if you have a kid who's struggling with maybe a certain issue, seeing another person that say that they have that same issue, but this is how they're doing it, but it's really not true because we don't know what they put on that. We don't know what filters that they're using. I mean, all I'm trying to say is that so be careful of social media. We don't know what's real, what's not, and AI is looking so good these days. Like, it's getting
Yeah.
hard to see what is real, what is not.
Well, and I think that's I mean, that's the point of building the muscle of comparison. There's no good that comes out of comparing yourself to somebody else because, again, if we go back, fitting in is one way. Being yourself means that you don't fit in because you're different, and that's literally the point of what we're trying to break the mold of. So if we work on that muscle of comparison, we're never gonna feel like we fit in. We're never gonna
Okay.
achieve that. The way we fit in is being okay with who we are. And so that's where the muscle of confidence is needed. And that muscle is trying something for the first time, stepping out of the space in the middle of your zones where you feel safe and challenging yourself, but challenging yourself in a way that only allows you to practice that next level as opposed to jumping into the pool before you've learned to swim.
Yeah, stepping into that new way, can that present a whole new possible risks that this person might be saying? Like, could it go bad for that person? And how would you help them out? Say, hey, give it a few days. Because I feel like kids, they try something new and it doesn't
Mhm.
go exactly they wanted on the first try. But as you know, you gotta stick with it for a while.
Yeah. The work that I do is I really try and, I challenge kids to try something new without the whole world knowing, right?
Okay.
And so the comparison muscle in all of our teens is really strong. So when I walk into a school and I'm gonna do something different, I don't have any muscles to support myself when somebody says, "Hey, look at that person." Right? And that, "Hey, look at that person," may not be intended to be harmful, but if I don't have any muscle to say, "Oh, they're looking at me," then I'm gonna see that as harmful.
Okay.
So it's reframing, it's doing things without the whole world knowing because, like, when we grew up, there wasn't the recording devices that memorialized our mistakes, and now there is these phones that will memorialize any mistake that somebody makes forever. And whether it's forever on, the social media feed versus forever in my own brain,
Yeah.
they're very different experiences. So what I encourage kids to do is to start building that confidence muscle in a way that isn't alerted to everybody, right? So don't just, if I've not built this muscle, I'm not going to go into school wearing a neon dress the first day because I don't have the muscle to
Hmm.
withstand what people are saying to me. But if I practice my confidence by this silly thing of when somebody says hi to me, I try to answer in a different way. Like, nobody knows I'm doing anything, but I'm practicing, and by practicing, I'm building a muscle that has really not been worked very hard at all.
Yeah, I love that baby step approach. Start off small. Don't go like color your hair and shave half your head off, whatever, and just try to see how
Right.
that looks. Maybe color your hair first, see how that color looks. Then maybe you want to take a step further. My oldest daughter, one year, she loved Hannah Montana. So when
Mhm.
Hannah Montana got a new hairstyle, one year, I was like, good gosh, Jazz. She colored her hair blue and shaved half her head off. And I was like, oh my gosh. At first, I didn't like it, but it kind of worked for her and her personality. It worked, but I was like, I thought that was a little too extreme, but she was happy. So, and she was like, preteen or teenager around that time. But it was quite the shock to me. It's like, you shaved half your head.
Yeah.
Mom will let
No.
that happen. Okay.
And the other thing that we can talk about in terms of hair is one of the best things to try something new with because hair grows back, right? So I had
Yeah,
my
think so?
youngest wanted to as teenagers, it grows
Yeah.
back. But my youngest wanted to dye his hair blonde, and I was like, "You're a boy, why would you do that?" And he was like, "I want," and I said, "You know what? It's not about what I want. Try it out. Your hair is gonna go back." And he got to experience, like, what did that feel like? Did it feel good? Did it feel bad? Why did it feel good? Why did it feel bad? And so we're talking about those kind of things. Hair is extreme because it's so, like, you can't hide it, but
Yeah.
it's not extreme because it changes by itself back to the way it used to be.
So, what if the kid likes it, but the we'll say the society don't like it, so they go to school and they just get picked on for it.
Mm.
But the kid likes the way he looks. How do we
Yeah. This is a
Yeah,
great question, is, like, how does it make you feel when you're wearing the way you have your hair? Like, if it makes you feel good, then it doesn't matter what people are saying and what people are picking on you. But if it makes you feel good, but you don't like the way other people are picking on you, then we got to talk about, like, what do you like more or what don't you
mhm.
like more? You know, like, so it's about helping that person decide for themselves. I think so often us as parents, we want to fix it and say, well, if people are picking on you, don't wear your hair that way. Except
Yeah,
it's not my hair and it's not
exactly.
my decision.
But one thing, looking at the world today, I think one thing we are doing a good thing is we're teaching kids more about diversity and acceptance, which is good because when I was in school, you get a haircut, man, you're getting picked on no matter what. It's like, but I feel like as far as hairstyles or how you want to change your hair, I feel like as a community, we're getting a bit more acceptance to it. It's not a big deal anymore. But you can run into those folks that are going to pick on you no matter what you do. Mm.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the hard part is just trying to, teach the teen, it's like, "Hey, if it's one person, you gotta try to ignore it," but the hard part is that one person always seems to be the loudest person too, where the rest of
yeah,
them are supportive. What's your advice for parents like me who are probably can be a little overprotective because 'cause we're afraid to have our daughter make the kind of mistakes that could get them picked on? Because we don't want them experiencing that. We're doing it out of love, but at the same time, you know, we could be preventing them from becoming who they are. And I also got to remind myself that kids need to make mistakes and learn from it. But
yeah.
sometimes I don't want my kid to make mistakes. But I guess what's your advice for parents to kind of like just let go a bit, let them do it?
Well, I think being curious, asking questions rather than making decisions. I think that is your best approach in every situation is asking the child, how does that make you feel? Why do you want to do this? Who likes it? Who doesn't like it? Why don't they like it? Does that bother you? It's just asking more questions rather than saying, that's not what you should wear. That's not how you should act. That's not what you should say. Is like, why do you want to say that? Why do you want to pick on so and so when they're not dressing and doing this, right? Like there's all sorts of ways. Like we're not in one space all the time. There is
Yeah.
other times where we are now in control and we're doing same things, right? And so it's asking questions. It's getting them to come to the realization that they're doing this for this reason and not because of this other external piece.
Awesome. Lorraine, do you have any other final thoughts that you want to address before we wrap up here that you want parents to know?
Yeah, I think mistakes are not celebrated the way that they should be, but mistakes are where we learn and how we build the muscle of resilience. So when your kids struggle, they're building a muscle. It stinks as the parent to
Yeah.
watch them struggle, but the more you are the person to just catch them when they fall and lift them back up to get back on their own feet, the more they're able to build that muscle. And don't we want strong kids?
We do, just not at 7 years old. Sometimes
All
it might
right,
feel
Tim. It sounds like
I know,
maybe
I got some work to do on myself. Yes, it's tough. I have 3 girls, 7, 4, and 2.
they have a lot of opinions.
They do. So, Lorraine, I wanna thank you for coming on today. You
You
also have a podcast, so tell us about where we can
do.
find that, the name of it, and where we can find you on social
Yes.
media.
Yeah, so my podcast is called Teens to Titans, Leaders of Today. It's actually the other way around. Leaders of Today, Teens to Titans, where I talk to people like Tim about their high school and teenage experiences and how it developed into the work that they're doing today. And people like Tim, you have a past that could be put in a box and pretended it didn't exist, or you can use the tools that you found to get out of that box and share it with others. And so everybody that I interview on this podcast has past that has created a tool that is meant to change the world. And it's really, really great. All of my socials are peers, not fears, all one word, because as peers, we should not fear each other.
I love it, and it rhymes. Cheers, not fears. That's
Yes,
great.
yes, yeah. Thanks so
Awesome.
much for having me.
Thank you, Lorraine, for coming on today. And for myself, you can always find us at our very own website, which is www.breakingbullying.com. You can also reach out to us at our email address. If you have a story of your own bullying to share, or for whatever reason you want to get a hold of us, our email address is breakbullyinghere@gmail.com. If you're a victim of bullying and you don't know where to turn, there is online resources to help you. The first is the government's very own anti-bullying website, and the address is www.stopbullying.gov. If you have had thoughts of suicide or of self-harm, we implore you to stop. Reach out to the National Suicide Hotline. That number is very simple. It's 988. I'm Tim Flynn, and thank you for listening, and we will be back next week to continue the conversation to break the silence on bullying.